Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Carissa Ropponen, and you are with?
I'm with the Victoria Sexual Assault Center. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. We're going to be talking about the downtown Victoria kind of core area, which we haven't really touched on that much. So you are just sort of north and east of downtown, right in the heart of the city, and you live in a unique loft apartment. What's it like to live here?
I love it. Me and my partner bought the place in April, so we've been here for just about 7 months, and we just think it's fabulous. When we first put in our offer and purchased the place, it's quite small, and so we were a little bit nervous about the size. And we have 2 cats, which you probably won't see today because they like to hide. But we found that small is great, and we're really enjoying living in this neighborhood. It has a lot to offer, and there's just access to so much in this neighborhood.
So you have a loft. Is that an issue going to bed?
No, it's not, which is also a little funny because I'm afraid of heights. So again, when we bought this place, I was thinking, is this the best idea? Am I going to be okay with climbing a ladder? For the first few days, I felt a little bit uncomfortable. And then after that, it's no problem. I can run up and down that ladder, no problem.
And do you drink wine?
I do. And that has not yet become a problem.
I think that would be an issue for me. No, I don't think so. But it is kind of unusual. And so, but the loft allows you to have a separation of space still.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I live with my partner here. And when we were looking at this space, we really loved it because of the light. We loved it because of the location. We have a floor to ceiling windows just over here. So it kind of makes the space feel larger, and especially with the high ceilings. And when we were considering the place, we were thinking, is this going to be okay for 2 people? Because it's kind of just one open space. But we find that with the loft, we actually do have enough separation where if somebody wants to go upstairs and do their own thing, they have the opportunity to do that. And yeah, we just really enjoy it, and our cats love it too. They've learned to climb the ladder, and they also run up and down that ladder, and have come to love the loft. They love being high up and looking down over us and seeing what we're doing. So yeah, it's been good for us so far.
Do they come down the ladder facing down?
They certainly do. They actually kind of go walk this way and then this way and then this way down the stairs, and they get halfway down and they just run down.
Okay, so a lot of people, I mean, there's talk about homeless people in Victoria, and I know I've sold other condos down further closer to town. I'm just wondering, what's it like? Do you feel safe around here?
I do feel safe. Yeah, there are issues with homelessness in this city. It's a very expensive city to live in, and of course, there are also people who are struggling with mental health and substance abuse. And so, yes, there are some folks who are struggling with those things nearby. I personally have never felt unsafe. We share a community with people, and yeah, it hasn't been a problem. Yeah.
And do you own a car?
No, I do not.
What's that like?
Well, living in this location is wonderful because I have access to pretty much any bus I need. I haven't been a car owner for many years, probably 15 years I haven't owned a car. I used to live in Vancouver, so I didn't need one there. I live downtown, and just took the bus, took transit, and was happy to do that. And then moving to Victoria, the transit system is, there doesn't run quite as frequently as in Vancouver, but I find that being in this location here, it's been easy for me. I have many bus routes just a half a block away, and so I have access to all the routes almost. It's great.
Yeah, I grew up in Toronto. I didn't actually own a car till I was 29, so I didn't have the need to access anything other than public transportation. Even when I go back there, I don't need it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, now in Victoria, there's the Moto car share. I guess it's been here for a number of years. So we have a membership with Moto. So if we do want to get out of town, or we need to go shopping and buy something that we're not going to want to carry in our backpacks, or we can always just grab a Moto. So it's not a problem. And this neighborhood is so walkable. Everything is nearby. I have a grocery store about a minute away.
Is that the new one?
In both directions. We have a market on Yates, which is a local store, maybe a minute and a half away, and then Save on Foods has just opened, and it's about a minute walk. So can't complain.
It's nice having a choice.
It is nice having a choice, and we go to both. They're both great grocery stores. If you want to go out to eat, grab a beer or a glass of wine, grab coffee, everything's walkable. I'm downtown in 7 minutes. Walking, yeah.
And so where do you go to eat? What are your favorite restaurants?
That's a great question. So just a couple blocks away, I like to go to Super Baba for Mediterranean. They have really great falafels. I'm vegetarian, so I eat their falafel sandwiches or their falafel plates, but my partner is a meat eater, so he'll have their chicken or their beef or whatever they have there, and he really likes that too. So we frequent there quite often. If we're going out for beers, we'll often go walk down to the Drake downtown. That's maybe about less than a 10-minute walk, and they have great craft beers, and they have a lot of local beers, just really interesting selection. And they also have some food there too, but it's more of a spot to just grab a drink. And for coffee, there's a coffee shop in my building. It's called Loft and Ladder. It's local. And so I grab coffees there on the way to work or whatnot. And then they're usually closed on the weekends. So if I'm out and about, I'll go to Habit, which is just a couple blocks away in the Atrium building, which is just a beautiful, gorgeous building. And
did you ever go to Zambri's?
I have not yet been to Zambri's.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to.
It's on my list.
You have to go.
Yes. Somebody's actually told me that just the other week that I need to go. I've been to a number of the other Italian restaurants, but I haven't been there yet. So looking forward to trying that.
And actually, my favorite florist shop is right next door.
Yes, the one in the Atrium building.
Poppies.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. They have great, beautiful flowers there.
And they have an awesome shoe store there, which I see you're a shoe aficionado.
Yes, I do stop by the shoe store there too. And
Footloose. Head over heels.
Head over heels. Footloose is another great store. Head over heels is right by Super Baba. Yeah.
And actually, for my husband's birthday one year, I gave him a shave at that Victory Barber.
Oh, yes. My partner gets his haircut there, so.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so what about in terms of entertainment? And, do you walk around at night around here?
Yeah, we do. I walk around at night and the day. If you are somebody who likes to bike, for example, there's on Pandora Street, it's bike lanes, and you can bike right down, and it connects you to the Galloping Goose. So you can bike those trails or walk if you prefer, which is lovely. Also, if you're a sports fan in the neighborhood, you can just go over to the sports park, Victoria. I can't remember the name of it, but it's just a few blocks away. And
Athletic Park,
that's it. And the Harbor Cats play there. So it's a lot of fun. They also have concerts there from time to time and events. So it's all within walking distance.
Do you find it loud living here? I live in the country, okay? Just let's look at it relatively.
Yeah, it is a bit loud here. We are on a main artery in for the city, so we have a number of bus routes, buses that drive right down Johnson Street here, and you can hear the buses, and
you just get used.
You kind of just get used to it. It took me about a week and a half, and then it's just background noise. But again, I was living downtown Vancouver before, so it was loud there too. So it's all relative, right? But I'm sure if you were moving here from the country, you'd be impacted by it. But yeah.
I actually grew up in downtown Toronto, but so how did you find the transition moving here from Vancouver?
When I moved here, I was unsure. I wasn't sure I would like living in a smaller city.
Did you grow up in Vancouver?
In the Lower Mainland, but not downtown Vancouver proper. But I'd been living there for over 10 years. And so when we moved here, I wasn't certain that I'd like the smaller city life. I mean, but as soon as we moved, I knew that this is my long-term home. I love it here. It's wonderful. And now when I go to the mainland, I'm like, oh, it's such a rat race.
I know, don't you find everyone drives faster?
Oh, yeah. And because I'm a person who takes transit, it's always full and slow and all the things. So I always look forward to coming back to the island. And
there's a reason why this is called Vancouver Island Time, because we run on island time.
Yeah, and that's one thing I noticed too moving here. I realized that, I guess I was operating with a level of stress I didn't even recognize when I was living in Vancouver. And living here, it's a bit of a slower pace. It's more relaxed. And but you still have everything that you'd want. You have access to everything you'd want. It's so beautiful. The ocean is beautiful, crystal clear water, in places almost looks turquoise. I mean, it's just an incredible place to live. Fortunate to be here. Yeah.
What about in terms of what's going on in the harbor? Because you're 7 to 10 minutes away from the harbor. What do you like about living that close to downtown Victoria? Or what do you not like?
I'll go with what I do like. There's not much I don't like, to be honest. I love having access to all the shops and the restaurants. And, if there's events going on, there's 2 movie theaters just a couple blocks away, venue for live shows. It's just wonderful to live so close to almost all of the things happening in the city.
I also find that because of all the organized activity, it's like super easy to do lots of stuff, and it's cheap.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was a market I went to last weekend, a holiday market. I think it was $6 or $6 or $9 to get in, and it took me 15 minutes to get there, and it's right downtown, and had an opportunity to take a look at art and crafts and jewelry from local artisans, and it's a lot of fun.
And also you can walk down to Moss Street and go to the market on Moss. Have you been there?
Yes, I used to live in that neighborhood before buying this apartment. So we would frequent the Moss Street market often, and there's, delicious fruits and vegetables from local farms, and great, really neat soaps and things I used to buy from there when we lived close to there, and local winemakers, and it's a fun event for all ages, and people bring their families, and yeah.
One thing I find about living in Victoria is it feels like even though it's a second city, it's like the capital city, but it really is a second city because it doesn't have all the major problems. I think it's starting to get some of the issues like with traffic and stuff when you're going out away from the downtown area. But I find that really you have everything that you need. Like if you want culture, you can go to the museum or go to the McPherson Theatre and all of those places.
Yes. One thing is you're not going to have to wait in lines here unless you're going for brunch.
To John's?
Yes, to John's. But yeah, you really do have access to everything. Like you said, the museum is here. We have world-class art and exhibitions coming through all the time. There you have access to opera and to plays and all of those things. It's really a wonderful city to live in.
Do you do anything on the water? Like, do you do kayaking, or you mentioned noticing the color of the water? Are you just accessing it through the paths? Do you walk along the paths along the water?
Yeah, I just walk along the paths. I don't kayak, although that's something that I wouldn't mind trying. But no, mostly just walking along the water and checking out the sea life. And sometimes you can even see an otter from time to time.
Actually, there are a few. So we have a funny story about the seals around where we row. So we row in the gorge, which is just west of here. And baby seal jumped on our not our kayak, our boat the other day.
Oh, really? That's amazing. That's so wonderful. I love animals, so that would have been a real treat.
Okay, so top 3 things you love about living in Victoria.
Oh, top 3. Oh, the weather. It's often sunny here. In comparison to Vancouver, it rains a third of the rain in Vancouver. So you always get sunny breaks. Even right now, it's a beautiful sunny day. So I love the weather. It's wonderful. I love the people. People here are very friendly. People are generous and open. And a third thing, my favorite. It's always hard to choose.
Food?
3. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I love the food here. It's great. Some of the best breakfast places. I think Victoria is known as a brunch town. And yeah, food and local craft breweries. There's a number of really good ones. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to have to go and visit some of those craft breweries. Maybe we'll make that one of our tours. All right. So if you want more information about the downtown Victoria area, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Take care and welcome to the neighborhood. We'll be back in a minute and we're going to talk to Carissa about her work with the Victoria Sexual Assault Center. Take care.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hi, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun and host of Vancouver Island Time. I'm here with Carissa Ropponen, and we're talking to you about the Victoria Sexual Assault Center. So tell me, first of all, are there men and women who attend the Sexual Assault Center, and what is it that you do?
Great. So the Victoria Sexual Assault Center supports women and all trans people who have experienced sexual assault or childhood sexual abuse. We work with people 13 years and older. For men who have experienced violence, there's the Men's Trauma Center. And so we work closely with them and we'll refer people, if they do call us for service, to the Men's Trauma Center.
And how long has the Victoria Sexual Assault Center been around?
So we opened in 1982. So we're coming close to 40 years of being open here in Victoria.
And where are you located?
We're located in the Cedar Hill area, 3060 Cedar Hill Road. We have our counseling office there, and we also have our sexual assault clinic.
And what does the clinic do?
So the clinic is a very unique program. It's the only one of its kind in Canada. And we know other communities would like to have a clinic like ours. It's a fully integrated sexual assault clinic. So recent survivors of sexual assault, before we opened the clinic, if they wanted to receive services, medical care or access to justice, they would have to access multiple different locations to get service. So if they wanted to have medical care, access to a rape kit, things like that, they would need to go to the hospital first, through to emergency and wait in the emergency room there. We would meet them there and support the survivor there through that process. And through our sexual assault response team, which was made up of support worker from our center and a forensic nurse examiner from Island Health. And so that could happen there. And then after, if they wanted to report to police, they'd have to go to the police station. What we found was this was really a barrier for many people to access services. It can be really difficult after experiencing trauma to attend in the emergency room. It's difficult to keep confidentiality, and going to a police station can be re-traumatizing for people, especially, there's people there carrying guns and things like this, and someone's just experienced violence. It's a real barrier and challenge for a survivor to access police reporting there. So we decided we wanted to open a center, clinic, where all of these things could happen in one place. And so in 2016, we opened Canada's first integrated sexual assault clinic. We're really proud of that, and we're lucky here in Victoria to have this service. And so a survivor comes to our center. It's accessible 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We have people on call, and survivor will receive emotional support, medical care, access to preventative medications, a rape kit if that's something that they'd like to do. They receive all the options and can make the decisions and choices that work for them. And if they decide that they want to report, they can also report in that same place, and the police will come to our center.
What do you mean by preventative medication?
After experiencing sexual assault, people might be concerned that they may be pregnant. There's also concerns about STIs, so preventative medications around those issues.
Okay. And how do people find out about you guys?
Well, I think in many different ways, people in the community know about us. We do outreach and things like that. But often what happens if someone's been sexually assaulted is they're looking for support. They might Google us.
Do the police refer to you?
They do, absolutely. Yeah. Part of the work that we do with the clinic is we have a team of people we call Team Victoria, and so we work with the local police detachment so they know about our services and can refer to us. And they've also found that working out of the clinic for reporting makes it a lot easier for survivors and for them. It's just a better environment for survivors, and since we opened the clinic, we've had more recent survivors accessing these services. I was mentioning before that people could access the sexual assault response team at the hospital. So we had 54 what we call SARTs before we opened the clinic, the year before we opened the clinic. And then this year we had 121. So the clinic is a model that is really working for people. People feel more comfortable accessing services in a safe, confidential space. It's quiet and calm. It's not chaotic like the emergency room.
And it's specialized. So eWomen Network actually donates money every year, both our local area, but also the head office in Dallas, and they donated to the Joyful Heart Foundation, and that's a foundation that supports rape survivors. Apparently, rape testing kits often aren't processed. Do you know about that? Are they how quickly are they processed here?
I don't know exactly how fast they're processed here. We work with the forensic nurse examiners and the police, so the police here are quite responsive to us, and when there are issues like this, we can speak with them and say, hey, this needs to be done. And fortunately we do have allies in various police detachments here who really do care about rape survivors and are trying to respond more quickly and in better ways, in more trauma-informed ways.
Yeah, so you're an advocate.
For the center, absolutely. And
the center's an advocate for the survivor.
Oh, absolutely. That's our role, is to support the survivor in whatever decision that they want to make. And that's one of the wonderful things about the clinic. When somebody comes to the clinic, there's an opportunity to hear what the different options are. And a survivor can change their mind at any time. And because what we believe is, as survivors just had their choice taken away from them, they've been violated, and now we have the opportunity to give them the choices and to support their decisions. It's really critical in those moments after sexual assault.
So I may ask some difficult questions. I'm sorry, just because I do find it necessary. I'm just wondering, so what percentage do you think of men or women are sexually assaulted?
Well, the stats are that 1 in 3 women will experience violence in their lifetime, 1 in 2 trans people, and 1 in 6 men.
And what percentage of them are people that they know?
I don't know the exact percentage. However, generally, people are usually sexually assaulted by somebody that they know, either an acquaintance or someone they've known for a longer time. Yes, sexual assault does occur with a stranger. Stranger assaults do happen. However, stranger assaults are not as common as I think that people believe. That's more of a myth. It's usually somebody that is known to the victim.
Yeah, because they would have their guard down.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the reasons that it's such a violation of trust, often for survivors. It's, of course, a violation, a bodily violation, but often there's that trust there too. Somebody that you know, somebody that you wouldn't think would hurt you like that. And so that's another layer. And so our center really works with people to heal from those impacts. We provide counseling services, both crisis counseling for people who have recently experienced an assault, or for somebody who's experienced a historical assault, but they're in a point of crisis in their lives, and due to that sexual assault. So we can provide support to help stabilize and to learn to cope with some of the impacts, to build those skills to cope. And then we also provide longer term trauma counseling, which is to really unpack the longer term impacts and to go through that healing process.
It's funny having a daughter, because now when I see her in situations, I'm sensitive because of what I experienced myself. Like, it's interesting how, you just kind of push things aside, and then you see somebody else go through it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like, I've got to protect her.
Yeah, and we also see people who have experienced sexualized violence, and it might be something like their daughter is growing up, and then they might be experiencing a trigger, and they come in for crisis counseling, right? Because they themselves are feeling triggered because there's, maybe something happened in their life at their daughter's age. And the thing about it is, whether or not we've experienced it ourselves, we all know somebody who's been impacted by sexualized violence. So we're all impacted, and we can all be part of the solution to end violence and to work towards a culture of consent. And that's another piece of work that we do in the community, is prevention education. So it's, of course, vital and critical and important for us to be providing support to survivors of violence so they can find healing and recovery and the strength that they already have within them to move forward and to heal. But it's also critically important to try to shift the culture so this doesn't keep happening. So our prevention education work does that. We work with youth in high schools, actually, here, in a number of different schools, middle schools and high schools, doing prevention work and trying to build that culture of consent.
So I used to be a part of the public health in Toronto of a group called Students Talking About Responsible Relationships, and we did it through acting. So we would go into the high schools and act out a variety of scenes that we had developed, and then there were counselors all around the gym. It was really impactful.
Yeah, we do some arts-based work as well, but we have workshops that we do in the schools about healthy relationships, exploring the root causes of gender-based violence with youth, and we also have youth groups, and we have a youth action camp every year, and where the youth design and implement some sort of action. Sometimes it's arts-based, sometimes it's video. Recently, a group of youth did a photo project about resisting gender-based violence. So arts are a really important way of taking action to end gender-based violence. And so, yeah, we're doing that with the youth. We have some incredible youth who've come up through our programming, and we really try to do our youth work with a youth-led approach. So it's not just adults coming in and telling youth how to behave, but really working with the youth.
Peer-to-peer.
Oh, absolutely, right? And the youth really respond to that, and they get to be part of creating, the actions that they take.
So what's that camp called, or that program?
It's called the Youth Social Action Camp, but our program is called Project Respect. That's our prevention program. And then within that, there's various different programs that we have. We have a shift program that we're currently working on, and that's in a number of high schools and middle schools. And the premise of that program is to try to have a shift in the culture in schools. So we work with grade 9s and 10s, and then 11 and 12s to do workshops. And right now we're working on a 5-year project. So by the end of the 5-year project, everybody in the school will have had the training.
And so how do people get in touch with you?
You can check out our website. It's vsac.ca, vsac.ca, and all the information is there. And then our youth prevention program has their own website called yesmeansyes.com.
Awesome. And then any phone numbers?
Oh, absolutely. If people are looking for access to service, you can call our service access line at 250-383-3232.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
Okay, and if you want more information about the downtown Victoria area, contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Take care and have a great day.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.